Take two. So I briefly posted what was supposed to be my post run um, recording, and then I used the wrong Strava image. So this was today's run time. And it said I hit a PR, but that was last run that I did. Um, and let me show you my meal really quick because I also showed that in the last recording. This is what hubby made me. It's swordfish. It's actually pretty good and is a perfect post-run meal. Seasoned potato wedges and garlic, green beans with butter. So I had this awesome spiel kind of worked up in the last recording, but maybe it'll be shorter this time. So um, I did not run at all during the weekdays of this week. And there were a couple of things that came into my mind as I was stretching out on the bench. I finish at a local park. And so usually, during the weekends, it's kids with their parents. Maybe they're in local soccer leagues and they're just doing their own personal mini practices with other friends or just by themselves. Or there's old people walking their dogs, or just random, people doing things at the park in the evenings, and the weather's perfect. And I was actually honestly surprised that there was not really a large crowd out there. I ran just a little after 4, maybe around 4:30. And the weather was perfect, but not a whole lot of cyclists today. So I don't know where everybody is this weekend, but it was nice. But I maintained my 9-minute mile pace, which was something that surprised me. Not running for 5 days, but it was thought-provoking too, as I was stretching, right? Obviously, I'm exhausted, but I felt great. And coaching sports, again, managing my energy, my time throughout the work week, 11-hour days, right? So one thing I told myself is, try not to make any excuses to not do any miles. But the weather has also been impacting. I do not have gym membership, so we have gone back down into mid-60s weather this past week. We're finally starting to get warmer again. So the weather was perfect today. I was like, okay, today's the day I'm going to do it. 3.4 miles at a 9-minute mile pace. Very, very proud of myself for that. However, one thing, as I was concluding my running, my stretching, is the affordability and the energy it requires to maintain an active lifestyle, right? As someone who constantly goes to the gym, as someone who constantly runs, right? And I know there's plenty of you guys out there who are thinking like, how the hell do people have the energy or the time to incorporate these things into their lives, into their weekly schedules? And then so it dawned on me too, the reality of affordability or of convenience that individuals have. It's a subjective matter, right? I do not have any kids. Versus if you have a career and are raising children at the same time, or if you are a student and raising children at the same time, if you're taking care of a parent and raising kids and you have your career or you're attending school. And then at the end of the day, after preparing your meals or, grocery shopping, everything like that, making sure your family's needs are met. And then it's like, okay, the last thing I'm pretty sure that's on your mind, let's go for a 5-mile run, right? let's go for an hour gym session and lift weights. But that hit me. And just reflecting on, again, the convenience and the affordability that subjectively each individual has in terms of what they can afford to incorporate in their daily schedule. Because I know that mental exhaustion is definitely a thing, right? I myself coaching sports, 11-hour work days, 4 days a week. It gets exhausting. And twice this week, I've been crashing out on the couch before 8 p.m. or at around 8 p.m., which is not normal for me. And so the exhaustion does set in. It was accumulation of the exhaustion from coaching. We're also anticipating and preparing for testing season coming up after our spring break. And the weather, mid-60s weather, it's ridiculously cold. For those of us here in Tucson, it is cold for us, right? But not only that, I was also thinking about the convenience of what people choose to indulge in, right? For that form of escapism from the stress, from the exhaustion, and the substances that people choose to consume, right? What I tell people all the time, My substances of choice, drinking tea and running. Those are two activities that I partake in on a daily basis. Well, running. I have been making an effort to do that on a daily basis, but falling short of that goal, right? Yes, I have been transparent with you guys on breaking the run streak on the day that I did not run, and then it just, it's easy to, okay, I did one day without running, and then I ran for one day on the weekend, and then I did not run again for like 4 or 5 days straight. So it is easy, right? But do I consider myself a failure because of that? And then I, got more deep thinking into like how society pretty much brainwashes us into believing that it's a one-track road to success. It's a one route road to success, or these are all the things you have to, all the tick marks you have to hit, all the markers you have to hit in order to be successful, in order to achieve your goals, right? Society is really harsh on pushing that idealism, right, down our throats, to where we buy into the fact that if we deviate from not adhering to this strict rule, the rigidness of staying in this particular lane, or not checking every tick mark, that you in some way are a failure, right? And then I was thinking about, reflecting just for myself, am I focused on the days that I didn't run, or like I ran over 100 miles so far, I got to see what my new total is after today. But for the sake of accountability and transparency, I've been honest with, you guys, and I am saying now that I did not run at all during the weekdays of this past week. But honestly, I don't think you guys really necessarily care about that, right? It's only for me. And I'm just, for the sake of transparency and accountability, I'm sharing this information with you, but nobody is going to care as much as I do about it. And then so it made me think about, life in general. Again, these ideals that we have to be, fitness, to achieve fitness goals and health goals, and, working out and exercising. And you're like, yeah, there's ideals and aspirations that you can have in your head, but like, what does it actually take? Like the energy that you have to exert in order to actually achieve those goals. And then so it's like, how much grace are you going to give yourself as an individual? Not necessarily an excuse to say, oh, I don't have to do X, Y, and Z, but the mental strain is a reality. It's a reality check. And so I'm not as hard on myself for breaking the run streak, but at the same time, it was something that I was aspiring to achieve. And even though I broke the streak after 2 months, 40 days, I'm in my second month of doing it after 6 weeks, I'm not going to let that deter me to just, okay, let's just give up now. We're not going to run anymore. Obviously I'm still going to run, but now I'm really thinking again about adapting and adjusting my thoughts going forward. I haven't made up my decision yet on whether or not I just want to restart a streak and run every single day, or if I want to balance out my miles, the days that I run miles, and the days that I actually do core strength conditioning. Maybe incorporating those instead, right? Of doing lunges, of doing sit-ups, of doing planks, of doing, burpees, just anything to strengthen my core and my thigh muscles, my leg muscles, those types of workouts. So moving forward, this streak is broken, yes, but I'm still going to record the miles that I am doing with you guys. And for the time being, we'll see if I continue to run every day again or not. But a lot has, just pushed me to self-reflect on the ideals of, wanting to live a healthy lifestyle and achieve fitness goals, but the reality of the energy that you have, So I just wanted to put that out there. And the conveniences of indulgences, right? And it being around the time of Lent. I don't know too much about that, but I know that is a thing that a lot of people are processing right now and what they're willing to sacrifice. So I just wanted to share my thoughts on that. And this was not a shorter video at all. It was much longer. Thanks for watching if you've watched the whole thing.